Welcome back to World Coins Explorer. In today's video, we're taking a closer look at a coin that may appear ordinary at first glance, but its history, rarity, and potential market value could surprise even experienced collectors. So before you consider it just another common coin, take a closer look, because in the world of coin collecting, even a small detail can make a huge difference in a coin's value.
What if a small old coin sitting unnoticed in an old collection is actually a piece of European monetary history that most people completely misunderstand? Today, we're taking a very close look at the coin shown in this video, and there is an important detail that you should know before judging its value. Many people may look at this coin and call it a 1985 euro coin, but that identification is incorrect. The euro did not exist as a circulating currency in 1980. So this coin cannot be a 1,980 euro cent. The coin in our photographs is actually a Belgian 50 centimes coin from 1980, from the period when Belgium used the Belgian franc. Welcome back to Coins Explorer, where we uncover the history, design, specifications, varieties, and collector interest behind fascinating old coins. In this video, we will examine both sides of this coin and explain exactly what the inscriptions and designs mean. We will also discuss its metal, weight, diameter, mintage, historical background, varieties, condition, and realistic collector value. And most importantly, we will talk about what could make an ordinary example more interesting to collectors. So before you spend, sell, clean, or throw away a coin like this, stay with us until the end because the details matter. The first and most important step in coin collecting is correct identification, and this is where many online videos can create confusion. Based on the photographs, this coin is from Belgium, not from the Eurozone currency system of today. Its denomination is 50 centimes, which represented half of one Belgian franc because the Belgian franc was divided into 100 centimes. The date visible on the coin is 1980, making this an approximately 46-year-old coin as of 2026. The catalog reference for the Dutch text version is KM 149.1, and the 1980 issue is identified as Type B in the standard catalog information. The coin belongs to Belgium's circulating coinage rather than being a modern commemorative euro coin. Its monetary history is therefore connected to the Belgian franc, which remained Belgium's currency until the transition to the euro. Belgium's old franc currency was eventually withdrawn, and the Belgian franc ceased to be legal tender after the euro transition. The 50 centimes denomination itself was used for many decades, with different designs and varieties appearing during its long history. So if someone tells you that this photograph shows a 1980 Belgian 5-cent euro coin, you should know that the correct identification is Belgium 50 centimes, 1980. Now let's examine the first side of the coin, because the design gives us an important clue about its identity. The obverse features the head of a miner facing left, rather than a portrait of a king. The miner design was adapted from a work by the famous Belgian sculptor Constantin Meunier, giving the coin a connection with Belgium's industrial and mining heritage. A mining lamp appears behind the miner's head, which is one of the most recognizable details of this coin type. The initials or signature RAU are associated with the engraver Marcel Rau and can be found beneath the design. This is an interesting feature because the coin is not simply showing a generic worker. It is presenting an artistic representation connected with Belgium's mining tradition. Mining played an important economic and industrial role in Belgium, particularly in regions where coal production shaped communities and industry. The design, therefore, carries more historical meaning than the small size of the coin might suggest. When you look closely at the photograph, wear and lighting can make some of the portrait details difficult to see, but the basic design remains identifiable. This combination of the mining lamp, and the RAU signature is one of the strongest clues that we are looking at the Belgian 50 centime series. The reverse side provides another major identification clue because it contains the denomination and the name of the issuing country. The design uses a crown above the denomination, while the date is divided around the central value. For the Dutch text version, the country name appears as BELGIE, which means Belgium in Dutch. The denomination is 50 centimes, making it very different from a modern euro 5-cent coin. The date 1980 is positioned as part of the overall reverse composition. This arrangement of the denomination and date is characteristic of the Belgian 50 centimes design. The crown is also an important visual element because it gives the reverse a distinctly Belgian royal character. Collectors should always study the lettering carefully because small differences in lettering, crown size, and portrait size can help distinguish varieties. In your photograph, the worn surface and bright lighting make some of the lettering appear less clear than it would on a sharper, uncirculated example. Nevertheless, the combination of BELGIE, 50 centimes, the crown, and 1980 gives us strong evidence for the coin's correct identification. Paragraph 5. Metal, weight, size, and physical specifications. Let's now move into the technical specifications, because these details are extremely important for serious coin identification. The standard catalog information lists the coin as being made from bronze, with a composition of approximately 95% copper, 3% tin, and 2% zinc. Its catalog weight is approximately 2.75 grams. The diameter is approximately 19 millimeters, which makes this a relatively small circulating coin. The thickness is listed at about 1.21 millimeters for the Dutch text type in an Amista reference. The coin is round in shape and was machine-struck. Its edge is described as plain, rather than reeded like many larger coins. The standard orientation is described as coin alignment, meaning the two sides are oriented according to the coin's intended striking alignment. Because bronze contains a high percentage of copper, an old example can develop darker brown, reddish, or mixed tones depending on storage and environmental exposure. These specifications are useful because if someone claims to own a 1980 Belgian 50 centimes, measuring the coin and checking its weight can help confirm whether the physical characteristics are consistent with the genuine type. One of the biggest questions collectors ask is how many examples were produced in a particular year. For the 1980 Belgian 50 centimes Dutch text type B, catalog information records a mintage of approximately 20 million pieces. That is a substantial production number, which is important when considering the coin's general rarity. A coin with a large mintage is normally less likely to be rare simply because relatively many examples were produced. However, mintage alone does not determine the final collector value of an individual coin. Condition, variety, errors, originality, toning, and collector demand can all influence what a particular example is worth. The 1980 issue is listed as Type B, while catalog records also identify special varieties from the same year. For example, a larger head Type C version is recorded as an inset variety, and another catalog variety has a triangle below the chin. These details are exactly why collectors should not assume that every 1980 example is completely identical. So the number 20 million should not automatically make the coin worthless, but it does tell us that the normal 1980 issue is not generally considered an extremely scarce coin. Now we reach one of the most interesting parts of the coin, varieties. The Belgian 50 centimes series contains differences that can be important to collectors who study die varieties closely. Catalog information identifies the normal 1980 issue as KM 149.1 Type B. There is also a Type C larger head variety, and the catalog notes that this version was produced in sets only. Another recorded variety involves a triangle below the chin, which is much more unusual in the catalog listings. There are also differences involving the size of the letters and the proportions of the design. This means that two coins carrying the exact same year, 1980, can still have different collector interest. If you own one of these coins, it is worth examining the portrait carefully, especially the size of the head and the area below the chin. You should also inspect the reverse lettering and crown rather than focusing only on the date. However, a suspected variety should never automatically be called a rare error. It should be compared against a reliable catalog or specialist reference before making a claim about rarity. This is where we need to separate exciting YouTube claims from realistic numismatic information. A coin being old does not automatically mean that it is worth hundreds, thousands, or millions of dollars. The 1980 Belgian 50 centimes normal issue had a large mintage of about 20 million pieces, so it is not normally considered a major rarity. Current catalog estimates shown for the 1980 Type E issue are generally modest, with values depending on grade and condition. The reference catalog lists approximately a few cents to around 30 cents across the ordinary circulated to uncirculated grades, although actual market prices can vary. A better preserved example can attract more interest than a heavily worn coin, especially if the surfaces are original and the details are sharp. Special varieties, set-only versions, or unusual minting errors can be more interesting than the ordinary circulation issue. This is why it would be misleading to put a huge dollar value on every 1980 example simply because it is old. If someone advertises a normal 1980 Belgian 50 centimes coin as automatically worth millions, that claim should be treated with extreme caution. The real collector story is more interesting. This is a historical Belgian coin with identifiable varieties, a distinctive mining design, and a clear place in the country's pre-Euro monetary history. Condition is one of the most important factors when evaluating any old coin, and your particular photographs show why careful grading matters. The coin has visible surface wear and some areas where the original design details are softened. There are also bright reflections and possible surface marks that make the exact condition difficult to judge from photographs alone. A professional grade cannot be assigned accurately just from these two images because grading requires careful examination under controlled lighting. Collectors normally look at the highest points of the design, the portrait details, lettering, rim, fields, and overall surface preservation. They also look for scratches, cleaning, corrosion, discoloration, dents, rim damage, and evidence of polishing. One important rule is that you should never clean an old collectible coin simply because you think cleaning will make it more valuable. Improper cleaning can leave permanent hairlines or unnatural surfaces and may reduce collector appeal. For a coin like this, originality is generally preferable to an artificially shiny appearance. So the best approach is to preserve the coin in its current state, document its weight and diameter if possible, and compare it with authenticated examples before making any value claim. The history behind this small coin becomes even more interesting when we place it into the larger story of Belgium's currency. In 1980, Belgium was still using the Belgian franc, not the euro. The Belgian franc was divided into 100 centimes, which explains why the denomination on this coin is written as 50 centimes. The euro currency was introduced much later, with the transition beginning in 1999 for accounting and electronic purposes and euro coins and notes entering circulation in 2002. This makes the 1980 date extremely important when identifying the coin because it belongs to an entirely different monetary era. Belgium was one of the founding participants in European integration and later became one of the countries adopting the common European currency. The old franc coins, therefore, represent a period before the familiar euro coins that people use today. When you hold a 1980 Belgian 50 centimes coin, you're looking at an object from the final decades of the Belgian franc's long history. That historical context can make the coin attractive to collectors even when its monetary value is modest. For a YouTube audience, this is an important lesson. Sometimes the story and historical significance of a coin can be far more valuable than a sensational price claim. So, after examining everything, let's summarize exactly what we have learned about this fascinating old Belgian coin. The coin shown here should not be identified as a 1985 cent euro coin. The correct identification is Belgium 50 centimes, 1980, Dutch text version, associated with the KM 149 series and specifically the common 1980 Type E issue. It was struck in bronze, weighs about 2.75 grams, measures approximately 19 millimeters, and had a reported mintage of around 20 million pieces. The obverse features the minor design adapted from Constantin Meunier's work, together with the mining lamp and the RAU signature associated with Marcel Rau. The reverse features the crown, denomination, date, and the Dutch country inscription BELGIE. There are also catalog varieties, including a larger head version and a variety involving a triangle below the chin, so close examination can be worthwhile. For the normal circulated 1980 example, realistic catalog values are modest rather than the enormous figures sometimes claimed online. However, unusual varieties, genuine mint errors, exceptional condition, or special set examples can deserve additional attention. And that is exactly why every old coin should be identified first and valued second. Thank you for watching Coins Explorer. And remember, before you sell, clean, or discard an old coin, always check the date, denomination, country, variety, condition, and trusted catalog references, because the smallest details can sometimes tell the biggest stories.